As I continued to survive in prison as the weeks went by, I thought, why is this world this way? And you feel sorry, not only for yourself, but for all the prisoners, to the point of anguish, the point where you would be willing to sacrifice your own life, if only to stop another beating or killing. But there's nothing you can do. An empty concrete cube with me, a human being, inside, in complete isolation, not knowing nothing of what is going on in the world outside those walls. In prison, there is no world outside. There is no outside that we are aware of. The walls are the outer limits of our environment. What a dismal place. How cruel of men to shut other men up in such a tomb. Man's greatest pain, whether in life or in prison, is the sense of personal insignificance, of being helpless, and of no real value as a person, an individual, a man. The first time I was tortured, I did not hear my cell door open. Before I realized, several guards were standing at my side. They began to whip me so viciously, I started to bleed. The session lasted for about an hour, and when they realized that I was on the verge of passing out, they left me. And in came an officer with a wild dog that was held on a chain. The officer goaded the dog to bite me and left laughing. As the days passed, the butcher colonel and his vicious dog would come to see me again and again. Once he slapped me with so much force that I kept a swollen imprint of his fingers for several days. Once the colonel left his fierce Doberman in my cell. It was growling and looked like it'd tear me up. But when the colonel left the room, I decided I'm not going to be outdone by a dog. I reached down, patted the dog, and started playing with the dog's dick. I finally jerked off the dog. The colonel never knew about this. A couple of weeks later, I heard from the guards that the colonel had shot the dog, how he had paid hundreds of dollars to have the dog trained to guard the place and attack when he told him to, but that the dog was no fucking good. Every time the dog was led to a prisoner, he'd just roll over on his back and stick his 4 feet up on the air. I hadn't laughed so hard in quite some time. I was visited a couple of times by a short young lieutenant. I became pretty close to the lieutenant. After the revolution, he wanted to become a teacher, but instead had become a military man. He had watched as his revolution had come under attack. He responded by repressing the political opposition and by helping run prisons in which political prisoners were mistreated. He had turned more and more to the practices he had once fought against. He said he vomited more than once after seeing horrible things, but they had to do it so others didn't suffer more. He told me someday he was going to ask me my pardon for what they were doing to me. I said I would never pardon him, and that he would never ask me to be pardoned, because he was convinced what he was doing was right, and he'd keep on supporting the people doing it.